So have you heard of Anne Bonny? Anne, she was born in Ireland in the late 1700s. Sorry about that. We don't have a birth date because Anne's birth was kind of scandalous. She was a child of an affair, and you know how that goes, especially in the 1700s. You don't mention that. Okay. Anne's father, William, had an affair with his housekeeper while his wife was traveling. Word started spreading around town, and William tried his best to cover up the scandal. And when Anne was born, he dressed up Anne as a boy and claimed that he had a son with his wife, not the housekeeper. William even started calling her Andy. This went on through like a good chunk of Anne's childhood, but what we do know is that people did not buy William's story. William ended up moving away from the British colonies to North America so he, Anne, and her mother could start a brand new life away from scandal. But their life in America wasn't much better. William struggled to find a job and make a good living, and Anne, she struggled with her identity. In America, she wasn't Andy anymore. Now she was Anne. Very confusing. She'd spent her whole childhood acting and being treated like a boy. She was the opposite of a dainty lady in society, and she was known for like temper outbursts and violence, stuff like that. Anne did find her place with a very particular group of people in town, the pirates. Now, it's unclear where she met the pirates, but we do know she loved that they were bad boys. William was so upset his daughter was associating with these types of people, but William's disappointment didn't stop Anne. She actually ends up marrying a pirate named James Bonny. That's where her signature last name comes from. William, her dad, was livid. He actually ended up disowning Anne because of this, and he kicked her out of his house. Rumor has it Anne was pissed. She knocked over a candlestick and set fire to her father's house and his land. Her new husband, James, he wasn't like a superstar when it came to the world of pirates. He was actually kind of just basic pirate. He not very high up, she loved him. And she even joined him on pirate journeys on his ship. Eventually, Anne and James end up in the Bahamas. They traveled there because the Bahamas was considered a safe haven for pirates. But apparently, there was a new governor in town, and he wasn't so happy with his town being a vacation destination for pirates, So the governor starts offering money to any pirate who became an informant for him. And he wanted to do this so he could nail down the pirates in town. And so James takes the bait. Oh yes, Anne's husband becomes a snitch. This totally goes against pirate code, babe. Anne took the pirate life very seriously and was not happy with her scum of the earth husband doing this to her fellow pirate communities, okay? So, Anne's in the Bahamas. She's not happy with her life. She's not happy with her husband. Her dad sucks. She's in a bad place. She's in a dark place right now. And then, out of nowhere, a man named Calico Jack walks onto the island. Jack is the head bitch in charge of all the pirates, okay? And when he shows up to town, immediately there's like a vibe shift. Unlike her lame husband, Jack commands respect from everyone he meets, and he even takes Anne's breath away. Take my breath away. When Anne saw Jack, she's like, yes, that's what I want. That man. And when a girl has her eye on the prize, she's gonna get that prize, He was the most handsome, suave man Anne had ever seen. After she probably saw his dick outline too. Just kidding. So she's a little flirty with him. She's like, Jack, that's so crazy. You do stuff with the boat and stuff, Jack. That's crazy. Pirate stuff? Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, that's crazy. So they're flirting with each other, and then they end up falling madly in love. Jack is like, babe, I love you. Let's get married. And Anne's like, I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let. And she doesn't. So remember, she is still technically married. Well, Jack and Anne are now in love. And she's like, look, I'm still technically married. And Jack's like, don't worry, baby. I'll handle it. So Jack goes up to James and he's like, look, I'll pay you to divorce your wife. James at first refuses. So Jack and Anne, they look at each other and they're like, F it, who cares? We don't even need your approval. We were just trying to be polite. And they end up getting married, or they elope. They're pirates. There's no rules. They can do that. So after they elope, they decide to get the hell out of town. And in order to slip away without anyone noticing, Anne taps into her childhood days and she goes full Andy. She dresses completely like a man. Okay. And when people, and just like when she was a kid, people would just buy it. Anne leaves with Jack and joins his pirate crew. They don't want to risk anyone knowing what's going on, so they don't even tell the pirate crew on the ship about Anne being a woman. Okay. Her name is now Andy. I know my first question, and I know this is so left field maybe, but my first thought was, what happens when you're on your period? How do you keep that a secret? Just stuff your pants as best as you can? I guess you could keep it a secret, but it would suck, Either way, Anne or Andy was a valuable member of the crew. And this was allegedly proven in 1720 when Jack's ship raids another ship and takes some of the crew hostage. Now, the next part of Anne's story is mostly based on a book by Captain Charles Johnson called A General History of Pirates, but he didn't know them personally. So, many of the stories are based on just pirate legend, I guess. But here's what allegedly went down. Jack sends Anne to seduce the kidnapped pirates, to make them cooperate better, I guess. I mean, it would work, I think. I don't know. So Anne, she takes off her Andy outfit and gets to work seducing the men one by one. She's like, oh my gosh, do you like a shoulder? What about an ankle? Have you seen an ankle, Mr. Pirate Man? My wrists are so delicate and small. That's how I flirt. So they're like, oh yeah, show me that ankle. Until one of the pirates refuses to cooperate. So Anne is like, are you into men? Because I could get some, yeah. She's like, just doing everything she can to seduce him, But this pirate is just resisting. He's clearly uncomfortable. Well, Anne is putting on the move. She's like, yeah. Anything? Nothing? No boner? Okay. Suddenly, this person that she's trying to seduce rips open their shirt. I know, I was like, okay. Guess what pops out? Titties. She's like, oh shit. The pirate was a woman just like Anne. What are the chances of that? Her name was Mary Reed, and makes Anne promise she'll keep her secret. She's like, dude, I'm low-key, don't tell anyone, okay? So Anne is like, don't worry, I got you. No wonder you weren't turned on. I forgive you now. They're in the same boat, literally. So the two actually become close friends. Many believe they took things to the next level and became lovers because they were spending a lot of time together. Apparently, they were spending so much time together that Jack starts to get a little jealous, okay? And even a little pissed. So according to rumors, Jack breaks into Mary's room one night and pulls out a knife to slit her throat. Remember, nobody knows that Mary is a woman, so he's getting jealous thinking that Mary's a man, okay? So Mary's in bed like, wait, no, I'm a woman. Jack, I have boobs. Trying to show Jack like, I'm a woman. And Jack is like, shocked, obviously, okay? He's like, let me make sure. I think, yeah, you must be a woman. Now, we don't know if he confronted her about how much time she was spending with Anne, but because she was a woman, Jack spares Mary. I'm sure he was actually relieved because he was thinking Mary and his girl were having an affair, So he's probably like, oh my God, that's crazy. My bad. Now, despite the secrets, Anne and Mary are an incredible team. They're like Mary-Kate and Ashley of pirate ships, okay? The two of them, along with Jack, decide to expand their pirate operation and make it even bigger. So Anne, Mary, and Jack were absolutely killing it as being pirates. They got off to a rocky start, Eventually, they figured it out and they made a great team. And they wanted to expand their pirate operation so they could increase their wealth. So Jack takes the ship back to the Bahamas, where he and his crew steal a new ship called the William. After stealing the ship, they gather a new crew and set out to sea. Now at this point, there's no hiding that Anne and Mary were women. They just stopped fully disguising themselves. We don't know the exact details of it all, but they stopped. And they ended up becoming high-ranking members of the crew, despite their gender. For months in 1720, their ship causes absolute terror all over the Caribbean, taking down ships and raiding villages. Anne and Mary work really well together as a team. I mean, they're both fearless and they share the dirty work. Most importantly, they knew how to fight. Oh yeah, they were each known to carry a machete and a pistol. And since they were high-ranking members of the crew, they were even allowed to order prisoners to be murdered. Jack, Anne, Mary, and the crew raided at least 10 ships in just the month of September of that year alone. Now, these missions were mostly led by Anne and Mary. They're raiding towns for their goals and even taking prisoners for ransom. Anne and Mary, especially, they were just ruthless. One of the prisoners later described them as very active on board and, quote, willing to do anything. When people saw the William out on open water, they were terrified because they knew that ship did not fuck around. But in October 1720, Anne, Mary, and Jack end up on a quote unquote wanted pirates list in the Boston Gazette. So now there was a price on their heads. On top of that, this crew had also made a ton of enemies. They pissed everyone off along the way, so things were just starting to go downhill really fast. In the same month, their ship was attacked by another government ship, and the government came armed and ready to fight this crew. I mean, the William had such a terrifying reputation. They weren't going to take any chances. But when the government's crew jumps onto Jack's ship, no one fights back. Apparently, the entire crew was absolutely plastered, and they were all hiding in fear below deck. I mean, if you're gonna go out, I'd go out drunk too, why not? So these people, the crew, everyone was just caught drunk-handed. Apparently, the only people who fought back were Anne and Mary. At some point, Mary gets enough time to stop and yell to the men, quote, "If there's a man among ye, you'll come up and fight like the man ye are to be. Ye!" And I guess no one answers. Just crickets. She's like, all right, great. So Mary, she's like, you know what? You guys are pissing me the hell off. So she ends up firing her pistol into the ship at her own crew. Yeah, she kills one of the men. Hopefully that will wake them up, by shooting into your men. It'll get them to maybe get it together and yeah. So she kills the guy and she's like, F you guys, whatever. And she goes back into battle. Mary and Anne, they fought a good fight, but at the end of the day, it was just two of them against an entire crew. So everyone gets captured and put on trial in Jamaica. All of the men, including Jack, get immediate sentences to be hanged because they're women. Anne and Mary's cases are taken to trial, but Mary and Anne, they were well-known violent pirates, so nothing they could say or do would make the jury be on their side. So they go to court, they do the thing, blah, blah, blah. Jury comes back with a verdict. Anne and Mary are sentenced to death by hanging. People during this time were cheering like, yeah, kill the pirate girls, blah, blah, blah. Then Anne and Mary drop a bomb. They look at each other, then turn to the jury. Well, what about our children? Well, you mention a child, and bitch, the audience goes wild. Legend has it that both women were pregnant by Jack. Pregnancy was kind of like a get-out-of-death-free card, because the people, the jury decided to let them plead their bellies, aka wait out their pregnancies in prison rather than be sent to death. Okay, loophole, love that. So they go to jail, whatever, and sadly, Mary dies from illness not long into her prison sentence. She's out. Anne, on the other hand, disappears. The ending of her story is a complete mystery. We don't know if she gave birth. Hell, we don't even know if she was really pregnant. We don't know if she died around the same time as Mary. We don't know. Her name stops appearing in any documents after she gets sent to prison. So rumor has it, Anne was broken out of the prison and smuggled to America back to her father. The idea is popular because of a book inspired by Anne's life called Mistress of the Seas. What we do know is that there was no recorded execution of Anne. She was just gone, disappeared. I like to think that maybe Anne escaped from jail and found herself churning butter somewhere, just living a normal life, thinking about like her wild, crazy pirates days, but pretending to play normal. My fantasy.